Hello everybody and welcome back to another election prediction video. In this prediction we have Kamala Harris up against former President Donald Trump, and we have RFK Jr. included in the mix if he stays in the race, that is, because there's a possibility he drops out because he was talking with Trump earlier in July and he was bringing up the possibility of him dropping out and endorsing Trump in exchange for a cabinet position, but reportedly the Trump campaign refused the offer. So we will see if that was the right move on Trump's part. I think it probably wasn't. So let's just get into this. So I think overall RFK is more likely to hurt Donald Trump than Kamala Harris at this point. We have poll after poll after poll of RFK Jr. actually taking support away from Trump compared to the head-to-head of that poll. So we could say that Harris is up by 1 or 2 in that head-to-head, and then we have Harris up by 3 or 4 with RFK included. So it looks like RFK is taking 1 to 2% away from, I would even say it's probably 2% away from Donald Trump here. Ledger poll is even worse. It had Harris up by a few points, and then Harris goes up to 6 or 7% when RFK is included. Instead of a 2 to 3 point lead, goes to 5 to 7. So that could even hurt Trump as much as 3 or 4%, which I doubt would be that much. I think it's going to be more around a 2% disadvantage to Trump if RFK stays in the race. But I'm going to show you exactly. So this is the race White House polling average. And Harris is up by 0.1% currently. However, if we include third parties, we'll just wait for it to load, Harris's lead grows to about a 1% lead. So I think that's pretty impactful on the election here. And we could just kind of see RFK is just declining ever since Harris entered the race. A lot of his support went away, and probably a lot of it went towards Harris because a lot of people were voting RFK initially because they didn't want Biden. He was 81 years old. There's a lot of Democrats that were considering RFK just because he was younger. But now that Biden's out of the race, I think we saw RFK's support go down because a lot of it probably went to Harris. Some more of the left-wing voters went back to Harris, or maybe a lot of undecided Democrats went to Harris because they were uncomfortable with saying they support Joe Biden because of his age. But still, the fact remains that RFK used to hurt Biden, and now he hurts Donald Trump. So let's just get into this. Starting off with Colorado, it's safe blue. Alaska, I mean, we could take a look at Alaska polls, but I don't think it's really going to improve much. And we don't even have an Alaska poll of Harris v. Trump, so it's really hard to gauge what's going on there. But I think with RFK hurting Trump a bit more now, I think we could put Alaska down to only a 9% win, but it could just simply go over 10. But for now, I'm going to be cautious and put Alaska as likely. Iowa still is a safe state. I still don't think RFK would hurt Trump enough to impact his stance in Iowa. I think he's still going to take it by over 10 percentage points. Nebraska second would probably go likely blue at this point. I think Harris will make a good VP choice that'll probably help her out in this suburban district. And I think RFK Jr. probably hurts Trump across the board in a lot of these swing districts and swing states. Up next is New Hampshire and Maine. These are both likely blue states. Again, polls in both these states have Harris doing better because of RFK being on the polling question. She actually gains a point or two with RFK being there. So I do think Maine second is going to be likely Republican in future predictions, by the way, just because Harris is doing a lot better in Maine than Biden ever did. The state of Ohio, yes, I do think RFK Jr. hurts Trump enough in Ohio to make this state only a 9 percentage point win. Again, since Trump did pick Vance, that probably helps him a little bit in the state of Ohio because of home state advantage. But I just think RFK Jr. would hurt Trump with the more populist or rural types of voters here because of his anti-vaxxer positions. The state of Florida is also likely a Republican. I think this is kind of out of reach for the Harris campaign. They're probably wasting resources by trying to compete in Florida. Again, it's mainly because of the Cubans here that are shifting right. That's why Florida is such a Republican state now. The state of Texas, honestly, with RFK hurting Trump a few points here. Before, I only had Trump win in here by about 5.5, 6% against Harris. I think RFK does enough damage to Trump that it goes down to a lean Republican state. Trump still takes it by 4.5%, so 4.5%. He nearly wins it by a likely margin. But I think RFK does enough damage to Trump to make the state go to lean R, which is pretty crazy to see this. New Mexico, I think it's still likely blue. I think it's still a 9-point victory for Harris. Same with Virginia. I'd still put in the 9% victory for Harris. Going to Nevada and Arizona. Honestly, a lot of polls come up showing Harris up in Nevada now. It shows her doing a lot better with Latino voters than Biden. So I'd actually give this state narrowly to Harris. Again, Kennedy being on the polling question here and on the ballot here. That could help Harris, honestly. I think it actually does help her out a bit because I think RFK just hurts Trump across the board now, just based on the national polls, confirming that over and over again. And I think that, would that hurt Trump enough for Harris to win the state of Arizona? That's a tough question. I still think that it'll be a very close race here in the state of Arizona. But would it be enough to hurt Trump here enough? I would still put his tilt to R. It's a lot of considerations here. But I still think this state probably goes to Trump even with Kennedy being on the ballot here. Unless we get other poll results confirming that Harris has erased that big Trump lead that he had against Biden. But for now, I'm going to be cautious and put this as tilt Republican. North Carolina also remains as a tilt Republican state in a Kennedy matchup. I do think he hurts Trump a bit here, but not enough for Harris to win the state. She'll get good black turnout, but not enough to win it. She will get enough black turnout, however, to win the state of Georgia by a tilt blue margin. I'm very bullish on her chances here. Again, I always look back at the Atlanta suburbs from the shift to 2016 and 2020, and I just don't think Trump's going to do amazing with black voters. I think, if anything, Harris could even improve on Biden's 2020 numbers with black voters because she's a black candidate that will energize black turnout like we saw with Obama back in 2008 and 2012. So I really think Harris is going to do really good with black voters. I think those trends we see in Atlanta and its suburbs aren't going to fade away. And with Trump attacking Brian Kemp before, like a couple days ago, that's not good for Trump. You shouldn't attack a very popular governor of a swing state that you need to win. So I'm very bullish on Harris's chances in Georgia just because I think she'll do well with black turnout. I think those trends in Atlanta and suburbs are probably going to continue. Maybe they won't shift as left-wing as they had in the past, but I still think overall they're going to trend left-wing a few points in Harris's favor. And with Kennedy being in the ballot here in this scenario, I think that helps Harris a bit. Because I think Kennedy pretty much hurts Trump in the rural areas. Again, he appeals more to that right-wing type of voter currently. He doesn't have a lot of left-wing policy positions that he is campaigning on, honestly. I've only seen right-wing ones so far. So he's definitely shifted a lot of his policies to cater more to the right. So now we're down to the Rust Belt, the states that'll decide the election. I have Minnesota as a likely blue state. I think this state's pretty much out of reach for the Trump campaign. I think they're mainly only going to focus on the true 7 swing states, which are Nevada, Arizona, the blue wall states, North Carolina, and Georgia. So now we're down to the blue wall, or the Rust Belt 3. Michigan, I think Kennedy hurts Trump here a good amount. And overall, in a normal prediction, a normal head-to-head, I would put Michigan as lean blue. I think it's the more favorable Harris swing state out of most of them here. Then Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, we're seeing a lot of polls here. Kennedy hurts Trump a good amount in Pennsylvania. Enough for me to push it into the lean blue column if Kennedy retains that level of support, retains that 5% he currently has to Election Day. That's enough to hurt Trump here. The state of Wisconsin, I still think it's a close state, even with Kennedy retaining his current level of support, and I would still put this as a tilt blue state overall. So this is the map if Kennedy stays in the race and he continues to eat away at Trump support. So overall, he hurts Trump in a few states. It hurts him in Texas. He hurts him in Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania especially, Ohio a little bit, and Maine a little bit as well, I would say, and Alaska. But it's a bit different map from a normal head-to-head. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, I'd highly recommend subscribing. And yeah, if you have any video ideas, comment them down below. Other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.